Hi, everyone. I would like to tell you how I started to work and how it led to a story that looks a lot like a thriller. Oh, yeah. My name is Ian. I'm a senior, and just like many other older teens, I have a part time job. They hired me at a pizzeria near my school. I was not allowed to cook, of course, but I helped to unload products, took phone orders, and delivered freshly made pizzas. Our pizzeria had a lot of steady customers, but one of them was special. I found out about him very soon after I started working there. He ordered the same pizza every single day. The pizzeria workers even nicknamed him Triple Pepperoni because of this. He was a mysterious customer. The girls that answered the phones confided that they would even get the shivers when he called. The delivery people also admitted that they had never seen him. By the time that they got there with the order, the door to his building was always open. The payment and the tip were on the table in the hallway, just inside of his apartment, and they were supposed to just leave the pizza there. One guy, who had worked at the pizzeria longer than all of us, said in a hushed voice that Triple Pepperoni was once a great wrestler, but that there was some dark story which forced him to quit sports and to hide from people. Maybe he crossed ways with the mafia and got shot, which completely disfigured his face. I did not really believe in all this gossip until one day, when I was taking orders, I actually heard Triple Pepperoni's voice with my own ears. His voice was very low and hoarse. It was as if I was talking to a huge bear who gloomily strained his words through his big teeth. I am not very easily scared, but honestly, I felt uncomfortable. But when it was my turn to deliver to Triple Pepperoni his triple pepperoni, I was calm. After all the delivery guys and girls came back from his lair, whole and untouched. It turned out that the mystery customer lived not far from my place. I quickly climbed the stairs and pushed the apartment door open, trying not to think about its owner's creepy voice. The door was really open, and the money was there, on the table in a dimly lit hallway. I grabbed the cash, cheerfully barked, "Triple pepperoni, as ordered," and started on my way. But something had possessed me. I did not close the apartment door tightly, and stayed there, hiding, as quiet as a mouse, in the dark corridor. Nothing happened for quite a while, and I was about to leave when something appeared from the depths of the apartment. It was moving slowly and weirdly, and finally, a wheelchair appeared, with a huge bearded and tattooed man in it. It was so unexpected that I think I made some kind of noise. I'm not sure. It was probably just because of the loosely shut door, but Triple Pepperoni moved his head, and it seemed like he looked right at me. I somehow saw that his hands were trembling badly, and his face was whole, but strangely twisted. And I just rushed down the stairs. Of course, I never told anyone at the pizzeria. At first, because I was too ashamed of my childish behavior. And the next day, because there was no order from Triple Pepperoni. The whole pizzeria was discussing what could have happened, and they came to the conclusion that he had just gotten tired of our pizza. I kept my mouth shut, but I was positive that it happened because I broke the agreement and spied on Triple Pepperoni. In the evening, when I went home, I looked at the lit windows of his apartment with shame and fear. Honestly, I didn't know what I was afraid of. That Triple Pepperoni would complain to the owner of pizzeria and I would get fired? Or that he would hire a hitman to shoot me? I was always good at making these things up. The next day, I went to school and looked at the windows again. It felt strange. In the broad daylight, his windows were still lit. I had to go to the pizzeria right after school, but I made a circle in order to look at Triple Pepperoni's windows. It was a long time still until dusk, but the lamps in his apartment were still on. I stood there in hesitation, and then decided to go up and ring the bell. After all, when I hear him start to open the door, I will have time to escape. He won't be able to run and chase me anyway. I called, then knocked over and over again, but no sound came from the apartment. And then I called 911. And in the midst of all the questions, The dispatcher asked me about my relationship to the owner of the apartment. I told them that I was his friend. I don't know why. Maybe because I still felt guilty. When the lifesavers opened the door and the paramedics entered the apartment, it turned out that Triple Pepperoni was lying face down on the floor in front of his fallen wheelchair. He was so big that all of us could hardly put him on the stretcher and get downstairs. He had been lying on the floor for almost 24 hours, but he was still alive. John, that is the real name of Triple Pepperoni, had really been a wrestler in the past. And this is not hard to imagine even now, with his looks. But there was no dark story behind him, and the mafia had nothing to do with what happened to him. One morning, after a show, he woke up and couldn't feel his right hand. It was working, but had become numb. And at that time, he decided that he had simply worked too hard in the ring. But things were starting to happen to his body more and more often, and the numbness turned heavier. The doctors could not help him. It turned out that he had a severe form of multiple sclerosis, and within a year, the big, strong man had become wheelchair-ridden. Since then, he lived as a recluse, not wanting to be seen like that, helpless and pitiful. The next attack of the illness caught him off guard, and he could not get up from the floor. And if not for my call to the rescuers, he would have died there, on the floor. He told me all that by himself when I came to visit him at the hospital. John told me, "Thank you, man," and I shook his large, trembling hand. Unfortunately, John's sickness is incurable, but not his loneliness. 6 months has passed since then, and I come to see him once a week, bringing him his favorite triple pepperoni pizza. And he is so big and so cool.